Hello, everybody. It's Mrs. Pound, and I'm back with another video for Chapter 21 on incoming substances from BJU Biology's 4th edition. Today, we're going to start talking about the digestive system from Section 21B. So, our objectives for today's video are to describe the function of the digestive system and describe and summarize the functions of each digestive system organ. So I'll be taking a look at the material from section 21.4, Organs of the Digestive System. First, I want to talk about what that entire canal is called. It's called the alimentary canal. This includes the mouth, pharynx, esophagus, stomach, small intestine, and large intestine. Now, what moves food through the alimentary canal is the peristalsis. These are wave-like contractions of the alimentary canal that move food along. So usually we talk mainly about peristalsis in the esophagus, but it works throughout the entire system. So let's take a look at the layers of the alimentary canal. The first layer is the mucosa. This secretes mucus that protects and lubricates the lining. So the mucosa is the very outside layer here. That is the mucosa. And like I said, it makes it slippery so food goes through easier. There's the submucosa below the mucosa. It contains blood vessels that carry away absorbed food. So right here, just under the mucosa, is the submucosa. There is a muscular layer, and its main function is peristalsis. These are the muscles that squeeze the food through, right here. And then the outermost layer is called the serous layer, right here. This would be the outside that when we dissect our pigs, if you were doing surgery and you were a surgeon, that would be the outside that you see of the organs. Now, let's start with the mouth. So, in the mouth, what we do is we chew our food, and that is called mastication. So, mastication refers to chewing food. So, chewing, mastication. You're mashing it. Salivary enzymes begin to the breakdown of starch to sugar. So, maybe you've chewed a starchy food and kept it in your mouth for a long time and noticed that it started to taste a little sweet. That is because enzymes are already working. The teeth are very important in digestion because they help us to masticate. And so, different parts of the teeth. First is the crown. This is the exposed part of the tooth above the gum line. So, this part up here. There is the root, the part of the tooth anchored in the socket. So, the root is down here, and that anchors it into place. The neck is between the crown and the root. So it's this center area here, just below the gum line, but not part of the roots. The enamel is a hard material that covers the crown portion of the tooth. So the white part here. And I think this is probably like showing teeth that have cavities. So that's what the brown stuff is. The pulp are the blood vessels, lymph vessels, nerves, and connective tissues inside the tooth. So the yellow and pink parts here inside of this model of a tooth. Now, here are all of the other organs we are going to talk about. So make sure you pause your video and you get these down. We have the mouth, esophagus, the liver that we're going to talk about, the gallbladder, the bile duct, the duodenum, which is at the end of the stomach, the pancreas tucked in there, the appendix, the small intestine, the ascending colon, the transverse, and the descending colon, the sigmoid colon at the end, and then the rectum. So those are all things you will be responsible for knowing. All right, so let's start with the pharynx, esophagus, and stomach at the beginning of the digestive tract. The esophagus moves food from the pharynx to the stomach. Remember, the pharynx is basically the throat, the back of the mouth here, that's shared also with the respiratory system. The esophagus is behind the trachea. The stomach contains chyme. This is a semi-liquid material in the stomach. So the stomach mashes up the food, starts to digest it, makes it liquidy, and that is called chyme. The small intestine is the next organ that the chyme will move into. Its major function is to absorb digested food. Okay, and it is very long. It is this blue part surrounded by the red colon or large intestine. So it is this blue part and it is very long. The beginning of the small intestine is the duodenum. This is the portion of the small intestine into which the stomach empties. So right here would be the duodenum right at the beginning. The small intestine contains villi. These are microscopic finger-like structures that increase the surface area of the small intestine and contain blood and lymph vessels. So this is what they look like. They're just projections. Like I said, they increase the surface area so that we can absorb as many nutrients as possible. There's also the liver, gallbladder, and pancreas. The liver is this very large red organ here. It's the largest organ in the body, and it secretes bile, which helps with the digestion of fat. It engulfs bacteria and worn out red blood cells, removes many drugs and poisons from the blood, and converts excess glucose to glycogen and stores it. So the liver has a lot of really important functions. Now, the bile that is produced by the liver is stored in the gallbladder right here, this green structure right there, and it will be secreted here into the end of the stomach, like in that duodenum area, by the bile duct that is attached to it. So bile goes from the bile duct. There's also the pancreas. This is an accessory organ that produces enzymes for digesting carbohydrates. The pancreas is this green leaf-like looking thing off to the side here. It produces insulin. Okay, so that is a very important organ for maintaining our blood sugar levels. And we'll also talk about it more. It's also an endocrine gland in the endocrine system. There's also the large intestine. The large intestine is also called the colon. It is this red structure here. Okay. So if you ever hear of somebody needing a colonoscopy, they are taking pictures of the colon or the large intestine. Its major function is the removal of feces and the absorption of water. After all of that digested food goes through the small intestine, it's very watery. And if we did not absorb that water, we would be dehydrated. In fact, when the large intestine is not working properly, you have diarrhea, you have watery feces. The rectum down here is a muscular portion at the end of the large intestine that allows us to control somewhat when we get rid of our feces. And feces are solid intestinal waste materials. It is the scientific word for poop, guys. So that is what feces are. So our objectives today were to describe the functions of the digestive system and describe and summarize the functions of each digestive system organ. Don't forget your 5 questions for the video, and I will be back with one more video from this chapter. So we are almost done. You should really start studying for the test.